Howdy, howdy. So, yeah. Sorry about being a few minutes tardy. I was sitting here jabbering with Jen and completely lost track of the time, and it was like 2 minutes till. I had to grab my other coffee, because as I keep saying, everybody drinks coffee right before bed, right? And then I had to, use the restroom, because I always do that before I start the show, because if I don't, I'll be taking a break. So anyway, that's just kind of the way it is. So anyway, my apologies for being a couple of minutes late here. And I didn't have my tablet booted up. I need to plug it in too. I didn't have the lights all done. Oh, look at me. I don't even have my blinky blinkies. Let me turn on the blinky blinkies. There we go. There's the blinky blinkies. Plugging my tablet in. It's getting pretty low. Alright, there we go. And it's booted up. I've got the software open. It's just I prefer to use my tablet to change the different screens that you see, because it's much handier than using my mouse and coming over here and scrolling and all that good stuff. I got nice big buttons that's right in front of me. So anyway, wow, we I've told you all about the local group that I started a little over 3 years ago. I guess more than a little over now. And so I had posted something yesterday for discussion. And I just truly wanted to have a discussion on it. I mean, it is called the Highland, Illinois Discussion Group. I'm pretty sure that it was created for discussion. So I posted a video, just less than a minute video, and here, let me show you the video that I had posted. Let me bring it up because I didn't initially have it planned to do this, but this is the video that I posted. And now I'm going to be honest, I did not say in the post, I didn't make reference that it was intended for discussion about local government. I kind of figured people would pick up on that, but my bad. My bad. And so this is the video I posted, just short and sweet.
Elon had an expression yesterday because nobody cares. It's a great expression. Nobody cares. The guy that signed the contract didn't care. Maybe there, may not be there, maybe crooked, who knows. But you have to care. Otherwise, you can't really run a thing like that, or you can't run a country, really, because there's so many transactions, thousands and thousands of transactions. And if you don't have people that care, you're going to lose control. And that's what's happened, and we've caught it. Now, what we caught is billions and billions of dollars, but it's a tiny fraction of the real number, because you can never catch the real number because people have gotten away with tremendous amounts of money. But I said we have to make our government smaller, more efficient, more effective, and a lot less expensive.
That's it. Just like a 51-second clip. And I had posted that because, among other things, one of the reasons why I kind of started to get involved in the local politics was because of the wasteful spending. And I started listening to the, because they have where you can call in and listen to the board meetings. I started listening to the board meetings. And one thing I learned really quick, every damn thing that came in front of the city council, they rubber stamped. There was never any real discussion. There was never any nothing. It's just like if it gets put in front of you, everybody vote aye and rubber stamp it. Now, I'm pretty sure that government was intended to be a little bit more balanced than that. If you look at Congress, for example, it takes holy hell to get something passed through. Why? Because in the Senate, for instance, you've got 50 people roughly on each side. I know it goes back and forth. Right now there's more Republicans. But it always seems to be pretty close to half and half. And the intent is that they will keep each other in check. That's supposed to be the intent. That's not really how it really works. A lot of it comes down to, who gets lobbied by who and all of that nonsense. But on the local level, we don't have any of that. If it gets put in front of them, it gets rubber stamped. We had a situation to where they were going to be laying off some of the emergency service employees. They didn't even want the people of the town to know that before the fact. In fact, I don't even think they were going to let the employees know before the fact. I think they were just going to give them their papers when they came in and sorry. Well, because of the group that I had started and because I allow anonymous posts, somebody had came in and blew the whistle about a month or so in advance. And yeah, people got engaged with that. It had no effect. City still did what they were going to do. But when it comes to the spending, there's no pushback. So I tried to get people engaged. I tried to get people involved into what's going on locally. I spent the time, built a website. It's nothing super spectacular or nothing. Built a website. Tried having discussions about things in the group. Even made some videos. I had posted them on YouTube right on this channel. And as Trump said, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so that is why I posted that snippet of Donald Trump. But instead of a local discussion, everybody went right to the national discussion. And it's the usual one, well, I say one side, but one side's Orange Man bad. And when I say one side, we're talking about a very, very, very small group of people. This is, this is heavily conservative area in this town. Heavily. And so I couldn't tell you percentage-wise or even guess liberals versus, Republican, whatever, Democrats versus Republicans. I couldn't even tell you and be anywhere accurate because I don't know. But I can tell you that the amount of people, the ultra-liberals, the ones that just spew nonsense and lies, it's very small. Very small. And holy cow, those people don't stop. They're as bad as flat earthers and vegans. They really truly are. And just like flat earthers, not so much vegans. Vegans will be a little bit more honest about the things they say. Flat earthers are just they're mentally ill. Just like these liberals, mentally ill. And man, you can't do anything to show them proof, because they will make up the biggest nonsense as to why whatever it is that you say in return is somehow skewed, and they've got the facts. They're the ones with the receipts, right? But they don't really have any receipts. They just got these lies that they just keep continuing with. I am realizing more and more every day that we actually do have a fairly good chance at civil conflict. A fairly good chance at another civil war. Now, I know the title tonight is I've never felt, let me see. I don't know the title of my show. I want to make sure I get it right, because there was 2 parts. Yeah, man. You can do it, YouTube. Okay, I've never felt so optimistic about this nation. Libs are freaking out. I mean both of those statements. I am optimistic. Man, how could you not be? We have got such a lineup of people that are being put into the administration. This is like, you know how they had that fantasy football thing? This is like fantasy government. I mean, come on. I see great about a lot of the cabinet. RFK Jr., whom was confirmed today, I can't think of anybody I would want more in charge of the health department. Nobody. And I was telling you about those lies they keep spewing. Well, every single liberal that I hear says that he's anti-vaccine. But yet he's not. Not even close. And it doesn't matter how many times you or I say it. It doesn't matter how many times he says it. It doesn't matter how many times he shows you, gives you an example of how his children are vaccinated, how he is vaccinated. It doesn't matter how many times he explains his view to other people. Go back to that Trump video. Nobody cares. So what do you do? As far as the nation, as far as the government is concerned, I've never been so excited in my life about government. I'm excited to see what they do. I truly am. I've never, in my 52 years, have ever felt that way. Not even close. But I do right now. And on the other side of the coin, I've never seen, regardless of how big or small the group of people are, I've never seen people act this hysterical and be so far detached from reality that you don't even know if they can come back to Earth. I had one guy today tell me I was entitled. I had another guy try to insinuate I was a Nazi. Interesting. Interesting. Especially when they're talking about a guy that is vehemently against all discrimination. That includes white people, too. See, they can't see that, though. What they see is, if you think that white people should be just as respected as any other color, nation, creed, religious background, whatever the case may be, well, then you're racist. And nothing could be further from the truth. It's called normal. Normal. Something that they have totally lost understanding of. They want to see men becoming women be normal. They want to see the most ridiculous stuff be normalized. And the scary part of it is, they have themselves convinced that they're some majority. That's why I fear the civil unrest. Because for 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden, they've had that nonsense reinforced. And that ain't the case. And now you have the majority of the nation that feels empowered because Trump won by a mandate, because so far every one of his cabinet picks have been confirmed. There was only one that they wound up switching out, and Pam Bondi wound up, Matt Gaetz, dropped out, Pam Bondi picked up the spot, and she was confirmed. We've only got one more that there's going to be a battle to get in, and that's Kash Patel. And today, he was advanced to the Senate floor for a vote. I don't know if that vote's going to be tomorrow. I kind of hope so. I want to see this get over with. Now, I'm kind of concerned about whether Kash Patel's going to get it. I actually thought, to be real honest, I actually thought that RFK Jr. was going to do a little better than what he did. I didn't think Pete Hegseth stood much of a chance, and he got in. So maybe there's hope for Kash Patel. But the things that are going on that we have seen in the last few weeks have been incredible. My only issue with everything that Trump's done up to this point is his stance on Gaza. Not a fan of that. But everything else that he's done, I'm a big fan of. Now, you're talking about a guy that would commonly piss people off because I would speak against Trump. During his first term in office, I spoke against him all the time. He's not the same guy. After that first assassination attempt, something changed in him. He smoothed out his rough edges just a tad. He's still Trump, but he smoothed out those rough edges a little bit. I think he thinks a little bit more about other people instead of just hastily responding like on the level and like he used to. He has changed. And I got to the point to where I was personally even getting frustrated and concerned with myself because how much I began liking the guy. And the more I see, the more I like. I certainly can't understand this hysteria. I surely can't see what's wrong about having a fact-based, common-sense country and rooting out the corruption and the wasteful and the fraudulent spending in our government. I can't see what's bad about RFK Jr. taking over the Department of Health and actually encouraging healthy choices, getting the chemicals out of our food that is killing us and causing a plethora of other diseases and conditions. If you compare an ingredients list, and you've heard me say this before, between a product from our country and a product from somewhere in Europe, for instance, they're totally different. Why? Because, and Europe's starting to let more of this stuff in, but Europe wouldn't allow it. There's food colorings, there's a lot of food additives, there's all kinds of stuff Europe won't have. They won't have any part of it because of how bad it is. And here in the United States, you pay off the right person, well, throw it in there, it's all good. And that's what it comes down to. How much money a company pays a politician to give it the thumbs up, and or one of these agencies. It's been this way for decades, and it's gotten worse and it's gotten worse. Let's not forget that cigarettes are FDA approved. Let's not forget there was a period of time in our nation to where there were magazine advertisements with a doctor or with an ad telling you that, 3 out of 4 doctors recommend Camel. Now, how on earth, for one, and I'm not going against smoking, I've smoked for a majority of my life. I vape now, so I'm still taking in nicotine. I have nothing against smokers. I've got an ashtray right down here. Somebody's a smoker, they come over to visit, I pull it out. I'm not like that, I on a level, I miss cigarettes because for some messed up reason, I love the taste. And so it doesn't bother me. The most it bothers me is somebody comes over and smokes is, damn, that smells good. But I know because I've actually done it before. I can have a cigarette and enjoy that cigarette and then pick up my vape and not think again about a cigarette, not have to have another cigarette. Once in a while, and it's once in a great, great while, I might do this once a year. I'll grab a little, 3-4 pack of cigars or whatever, and I'll enjoy the hell out of them. Enjoy the hell out of them. But then I go right back to my liquid nicotine. So, and that's how I know damn well how well these actually work, because I can tempt that beast today and go right back to this without a hiccup. See, that was my biggest problem with vaping. When I started vaping, I didn't trust the thing. I didn't trust that it could do for me what that cigarette did. It was a matter of trust, but it can, and it will. Just saying. But I can't understand how after decades of this corruption in our health department, in our FDA, in the USDA, and all these other agencies, that anybody in their right mind would think it would be a bad idea to root out the corruption. It blows my mind. And being somebody that's actually listened to what RFK Jr. had to say and actually looked at the stances that he's taken, you know, the proof in the pudding. How on earth could you say that that's a bad idea? I don't know. Like I mentioned in a comment to one of the guys, you know, at least partially, it's not their fault. And the reason why is because they're turning on their CNN, their MSNBC, or whatever, and the politicians are lying. The media is picking up on those lies and repeating those lies. And the people who absolutely refuse to be a critical thinker and to ask questions and to actually look into something, and I mean actually look into it, not go find somewhere that shares the same view as them and post a link as if that's research. That's not research. It blows my mind. And that level of Looney Tunes, that level of lunacy in this nation against an extremely awakened, I gotta say, majority, that's not gonna bode well if they keep trying to push their nonsense like their puppet master politicians are encouraging them to, and their media mouthpieces. I see a lot of good in the future, but I think it's going to be rocky. And I think it's going to be rocky on several notions, not just what I was just talking about, but Trump has even warned, you know, things are going to get a little bit, you know, hard for a while. There's no way around that. And I've been saying this for a long time, over a decade, that if we ever do what's right in this country to truly right this ship, it's going to take sacrifice. There's no way around that. Folks, we can go on Amazon right now and buy one hell of a TV for a fairly good price. And that's why you've got so many people with nice TVs in every room of their house. I'm sitting here with a 43-inch 4K TV that I'm using as one of my monitors. Two 24-inch monitors underneath of it. Another 24-inch monitor just right over there with a camera I gotta go smack the hell out of. With 6 cameras that you can see. I mean, if it were back in, I don't know, the 80s, the 70s, if we had this type of technology, but at the same price rate that it was back then, you know how much it would cost to have all this? Because it wasn't cheap stuff from China. It was stuff made right here in the United States of America, where the standard of living was much higher. The expectations of what you could do with the dollar was much higher. People had less. People had less. Much less. So yeah, things are going to get tough. People are going to have to be more fiscally conservative in their own lives until we can right this ship. It's going to take a little bit. There will be a transition time. There's no way around that. We got addicted to cheap goods from China. But in the process, we sold ourselves out. So yeah, there are going to be some rough spots. It is going to get tight, even more so than right now. But I can see beyond that, and I can understand why it is that period is going to happen, and I can see what the intent is of this nation on the other side of that rough patch. And as long as we can continue on that journey and complete that journey, we are heading for another golden age. But it's going to take some sacrifice. It's going to take some trimming down, even in our personal lives, to be able to get there. I have accepted that a long time ago. I was worrying and telling other people about that a long time ago. Like I say, over a decade ago. Because I'd seen the writing on the wall. I understood this stuff and seen it back then. You know, I live in a small town. It's not super, super small. We've had some incredible industry here in this town. We've actually been the location of the founding of a lot of businesses. Pet Milk Company, if anybody's familiar with pet milk, that was founded right here. Yeagle Motor. You probably don't realize it, but you probably, especially those that are my age or so, have had things or been around things that had Yeagle motors in it without even knowing. A lot of times, like the fans and stuff that they would have in machines and stuff, they were Yeagle motors. To this day, some of the fans like that you have in your bathroom over your shower, the vent fans, there's a fair amount of those that are either from Yeagle motor or they're the same design. They're the Yeagle design. That started here, right in this town. We've got a company called Highland Supply Corporation. That's in the old Pet Milk building. I worked there when I was still in high school, senior in high school, and working full-time as a color machine operator when I was a senior in high school. If you've ever gone into the bathroom, if you've ever gone into a gas station, convenience store, and you see the single rows on the counter and the big glass jar or whatever it's in, that's wrapped in that plastic sheeting, that was invented and produced right here. Don Waiter has an international patent on that. If you go around Christmas time into Walmart or anywhere else, and this is the stuff I made, it was called polyfoil, and you see the potted plant sitting there, and it's got that, it's foil on one side and it's plastic on the other. A lot of times on the foil side it'll be red, and on the plastic side it'll be green, hunter green to be exact. That's what I made as a senior in high school. I ran that machine. They cut those in squares. They stamp them with a press into what they call hats that fit into a pot for a potted plant. That was invented and produced right here in Highland, Illinois. We were the producers, same company, Highland Supply Corporation, of 80% of the world's Easter grass. Right here, Highland, Illinois. So to say that we have been an industrial town is an understatement. But it didn't take long for these companies to get the hell out of Dodge. Yago went down to Mexico. We had a company called Artex. They make tablecloths and stuff like that. They booked out of town. I think they went to another country. All these industries left because the politicians made it so easy for them to do so. And we got to fix that. And it takes a while to get that industry back to the United States and up and moving and shaking. Takes a while. It's not an overnight thing. And that's what Trump's intention is with the tariffs and all of this stuff, is to get those businesses back here. We either deal with the sacrifice and build something great, or we forever hand it to somebody else. We've got two roads we can go down. We're going to wind up working our asses off either way to be able to do it. If we all become government slaves because there are no real jobs and so everybody has to work for the government, communism, I guarantee you we'll be working our asses off. Or, if we all go and work in a production line or whatever it has to do, work at the new factory that's in town, we're still going to be working our asses off. Hopefully for a decent paycheck. I will say this about Yago Motors. They were bullshit to work for. And in fact, I think one of the biggest reasons they went to Mexico is because they got tired of the labor laws in the United States. I think they got in trouble a little bit, and so they got out of the country. I mean, might as well anyway, because they had a ton of people from Mexico working there, here in town. So, why not give them a shorter route to work? Hang on. Kiddo itching again. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take sacrifice. And there's a lot of people that's holding that against this new administration and this new plan. It's crazy. It truly is. Hang on. Huh. What? Oh. Oh gosh. I'm Cage. What are you referring to when you're asking if it was during the 80s and 90s? Let me know what you were referring to and I'll answer your question. Sorry, I jabber and jabber, so let's see. Yeah, you got it right, Steve. Exactly it. We can either work digging our way out of this or work digging to hell. It can't get much worse than it is now. Correct. Correct. Absolutely correct. Oh, okay. Other people posting in the group, political stuff. And you know what? I'm about to remove the rule because I had put a rule during the campaign season that no political posts. And the reason why is because it got stupid. When they moved elsewhere, that would have been early 90s. It would have been around the early 90s. Somewhere I would say between 90 and... Definitely between 90 and 95. Yeah. And that's... I mean, some of the businesses had left prior to that. Artex, I think, was one of the first ones to bolt. There's a lot of industry here. Now much of the stuff that Highland Supply did, I think is being done other places. It's kind of crazy. Because even it, as far as I know locally, has really been downsized. So I don't even know what all they're doing anymore. It was that was the damnedest thing. They had a union. I always thought this was illegal. But they had a union, and the president of the union was the owner of the company. And I always thought that was illegal. When I worked there, this is the truth, I had to sign a waiver before I started. And the reason why is because, and it is what it is. The machines, the coloring machines, you had to watch them. If they were running, somebody physically had to be there watching them. Because if you would have a tear out, in a matter of seconds, it became a mess. Literally in a matter of seconds. The moment that you saw an issue, you had to slam that power button and shut that machine down. And here's the crazy part. You had seconds to keep it shut down. Because what would happen is the knurl that put the ink on, in my case, the foil, would stain. And just the blame, I mean, it didn't take no time that knurl would stain. And you have to, my machine on average, I still remember this, 120 feet per minute. That's how fast my machine ran, 120 feet per minute. And when you've got a knurl, a knurl, by the way, it was a big steel, round steel like tube, and on it, sometimes it would have a design, but most of the time it was just like a satin type of finish. And the knurl would pick up the ink, and when it went across the foil, it would just leave a real light film of ink. Well, at 120 feet per minute, if you had a tear out and that foil started wrapping around that knurl or any of the other rollers, again, you had a mess within seconds. So being able to go and smoke a quick cigarette, being able to go and eat a sandwich, you didn't have that kind of time. And you couldn't just shut the machine down. So I had to sign a waiver when I started working there that I waived my right to a lunch break. So again, senior in high school, I was working full time, 3 to 11, at Highland Supply Corporation, and no break, no lunch. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. Once in a while, we would look at the person that was operating the machine next to us and be like, we're going to sneak out back and have a cigarette, you know? And we did that. Or if you had to go to the bathroom because people got to pee, if you had to go to the bathroom, that's what you did. You got a hold of the person running the machine next to you and said, hey, I got to go run to the restroom, keep an eye on my machine. But you were only supposed to go there, get done with your business, and be right back. We didn't get 15-minute breaks. We didn't get a half an hour lunch. But yeah, these youngsters today talk about how hard they have it, and I think about working, and I was working overtime. I was working 5 days a week, 8-hour days. I was working 6 days, 6 days a week, 48 hours a week, and going to school, high school, full time. So these youngsters talk about how hard, and I'm not, this isn't I had to walk 20 miles to school uphill both ways in 10 feet of snow story. It is what it is, You just don't see that kind of motivation these days. You just don't see it. I would imagine the world we're headed to, to where you actually have to do something, it's going to look scary to some of them. The fact that Trump is doing away with all this federal workers working from home thing, I would imagine that looks scary to some, especially those that are doing that. But these are the taxpayer dollars that are going to pay these folks. I don't know about you, but I had to work my ass off for the things I have. And I certainly don't expect that my tax dollars should go to somebody who feels entitled in a way that they shouldn't have to. Just doesn't seem right. I don't get it. I've jabbered almost an entire hour tonight. I do have links. I had plenty of things I was going to talk about, but I didn't get to a damn bit of it. That's crazy. That's okay. Let me have a sip of coffee and a couple of vapes. I've got like 8 links up. And I'll just run through them. I'm not going to do a bunch of reading or anything like that. I'll just run through them. But I gotta have coffee. The simple things. I love a simple coffee. Well, it's not so simple. I have quite a bit of sugar and creamer in it, but, candy coffee, some might call it. Oh, man. Has it been an interesting day. I am ready to snuggle up next to that black thing over there. Not Jen. The dog. I mean, I'm ready to snuggle up against Jen too, but I can't snuggle up against Jen because we've got a big black dog between us, so not allowed. Oh wow, Steve. Yeah, you're a little older than I am. I remember plenty of snow days when I was in school. However, not like the amount of snow days they have now. I mean, It's crazy the snow days they have now. Alright, let's see. I'll just run through these real quick. Trump ally promises info on Epstein's Lolita Express. I'm looking forward to that. I am really, truly looking forward to that. This is another thing that blows my mind. It completely blows my mind that you have so many people that are okay with the idea that they have this information, that they know names of people that were involved in extremely dark and sinister things and involving children. And you've got a ton of people in government that's concealing those names and those activities. And then, on top of that, you have part of the population that want to keep it that way. That's mind-blowing to me. So, anytime you're ready, Anna Paulina Luna. Anytime you're ready. This happened. Car rams into crowd at Raleigh in Germany. Article says at least 28 people have been injured. Absolutely crazy. And it goes to show gun control isn't going to do nothing. Because people will find a way. They'll find a way. Trudeau says Canada will never join the U.S. Well, guess what, Trudeau? You're not going to be around much longer because you done resigned. I love the first word in the article. Outgoing. Exactly. Look, I don't know about this whole making Canada the 51st state. Actually, I find it humorous more than anything. One of the first things we need to do is make D.C., Washington, D.C., the 51st state. That's what we need to do, because there's a whole lot of things that they can get away with in D.C. because they're not a state. So they kind of have their own rules. It's different than the other, than the 50 states. So I think making D.C. an actual state would probably be a good move. And I know that there was a good reason why it wasn't included as a state initially. But we've got such crooked people today that they'll subvert and loophole the hell out of things to where that's not for the advantage of the people anymore. So I think D.C. needs to become the 51st state. And then we can go from there. As far as Canada, don't we got enough problems? We got enough problems. I'm not opposed to Canada, but I don't necessarily think that a lot of the populace in Canada has the same ideals and values and understanding that we do in the U.S. Firearms is one. There are a lot of people in Canada that's opposed to firearms. I mean, a lot. I would be worried that just like letting a bunch of immigrants come across the southern border, I am worried that bringing Canada in as a U.S. state might dilute this nation's roots and its ideals, at least the founding ideals. We're already seeing that. Let's see. Reports are J.C. Penney to close stores nationwide, and it gives a list here of stores they're going to close. J.C. Penney. I don't have it up here, but there was also reports from our local news station here that Denny's is actually going to be closing more locations than they initially said. So we are on a downturn, without a doubt. Our economy is on a downturn, and it's going to take a little bit to turn around. You're not allowed into... Oh, wait. Because you were a bad boy. That's why you're not allowed into Canada now. Isn't that crazy? They say we're free people, right? And I'm in a similar club as you, Steve, and I can't get a passport either. But they call us a free people. Isn't that interesting? I mentioned this earlier. RFK Jr. has been confirmed. That's a done deal. Man, I was cheering. I was watching it, and I was just cheering like all kinds of crazy. I really was. And then I saw the Kash Patel vote come in to move him forward to the Senate floor for a vote, and I was just hooting and hollering and carrying on. You'd have thought I was watching some kind of sports game or something if I was a sports fanatic. I mean, again, this is like a dream team for government. That's a bingo. Yeah, I'm in the bingo club, brother. I know the feeling. Biden's NATO promise to Ukraine provoked conflict, says Trump. That would be correct. Absolutely. That was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. And why Putin felt like he needed to put his foot down and do something. I'm 2 minutes over. Got a dog over there scruffing the... Aren't we going to bed soon? God. The entire day, right? Both for her lunchtime meal and her dinner meal. She was up my butt. And I mean, she was... Where's my food? Where's my food? I mean, just insane. And now she's over there. Aren't we going to bed yet? Aren't we going... I have never had a dog like this. And it is such a blessing. She's incredible. It's just so incredible. Let's see. Trump wants Russia back in the G8. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. If we have any notion or intention of getting along in this world, we have to communicate. On some level, we have to work with one another. We have to work with the people that can be worked with. And Russia can absolutely be worked with. All Russia wants is security. They want their own security. There ain't nothing wrong with that. As far as how they run their country, as long as they're not enslaving people and doing things that go directly against humanity, leave them be. It's the most ridiculous thing that we think we have to run the world. It's crazy. Howdy, Leo. You walked home stoned. Oh, I hear you, Steve. Yeah, they, animals are great. They're so great. I don't know how many times I have asked the Father what I have done to deserve such an incredible pet. She is, and she's not a pet, she's a complete member of our family. She's treated like a human child and respected like a human child, and it's great. It is great. You definitely see it back. You definitely get it back tenfold, and it's incredible. It is just insane. I've never seen a dog with the same level of intelligence and personality and independent voice, if you will. And it's so incredible, so blessed, and I have no idea what I've done to deserve such a majestic creature. She is great. Let's see. And lastly here, Trump confirms that Ukraine won't join NATO. Well, if you want to end the war, that's one thing you damn sure have to do. You have to guarantee that NATO isn't going to be on the doorstep of Russia. And they already are, but not along that region. I mean, that would be like China or Russia putting missiles right across the border, or putting them in Cuba. I mean, we had a big Cuban Missile Crisis that almost caused nuclear war. Came very close. And that was just because Russia was going to put missiles in Cuba. But we expect to put missiles right on Russia's doorstep, and our government expects that their government should be okay with that. I don't get the logic. Right, I agree. I mean, it's crazy. Right on. I knew you had one cat. I didn't know you had the two. I didn't know you had two. I knew about one. Oh, got some kind of breaking news out of RT. Oh. Marco Rubio's plane suffers mechanical issue. Says U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was en route to Germany on Thursday when his plane was forced to turn back toward Joint Base Andrews just outside Washington. The plane on which Secretary Rubio is flying experienced a mechanical issue, State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce said, as cited by AFP. The plane is turned around and is returning to Joint Base Andrews. The Secretary intends to continue his travel to Germany and the Middle East on a separate aircraft, she added. Interesting. It doesn't mean sabotage or anything like that. They have so many warnings, so many sensors and just so many indicators that something's not right on those aircraft. That's why you'll have something like that pop up. And even though they're completely safe to turn around and land, at least they have that indication. So it could be the most minor thing, It could be, there's a chance that plane could have flew to Germany and back without a problem. But because they are so adamant about safety in aviation, and they truly are, they have all those sensors and those lights and those buzzers and all that stuff to pick up on the littlest thing. I'm glad that he was able to make it back, and going to be able to continue its trip. Yeah, exactly, Leo, exactly. And Rubio I'm not a fan of. I will say that. That's the one person in Trump's administration that I really don't care for. So, and I still don't care for him. But, as Leo said, he's still an important person. And he's still a member of our president's administration. That is what it is. I wouldn't wish anyone from the Biden administration to have been in a plane accident. Not even Kamala. None of them. Because I'm not like that. I'm just glad it wasn't nothing that big. Let's see. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I miss cats, Steve. I do. I miss cats. I'm a big cat lover. And I probably more of a cat lover than even a dog lover. I'm waiting to get in trouble for that. Yeah, I love cats. The reason I love cats is because as far as affection is concerned, they can be more of a challenge. Some cats. Siamese cats are my favorite. Why? Because they're assholes. That's why. And it's, yeah, huff and coming, exactly. I was waiting for it. I love Siamese cats because you have to work for their affection. And, I don't know, I just seem to be so well in tune with them. And, I don't know, I just love, especially Siamese cats are just incredible. I like birds too, so I like animals. I keep saying that you have to be careful taking me anywhere, like, I don't know how I would ever get there, but like a safari or something like that, because I'm going to be the dude that dies because he has to pet the big kitty. So, because I couldn't resist. We saw a video just the other day, a little quick short video of a guy that had a big cat. I'm not exactly sure what kind of big cat it was. It was a big cat. And it wasn't a tiger. It was just solid color. I mean, it could have been a lioness, even. A lioness, not a male lion. But huge cat, as big as the dude was. And he went up to the cat, and before it was all said and done, the cat's giving him kisses and rubbing up against his head, the cat's head up against the guy's head. And I'm just like, I'm in love. I'm just like, I so want that to be me, I love them. Oh, Maine Coons, yes. Yes, I would love to have a Maine Coon, because that's pretty much the biggest damn cat that I can have. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Steve, on that, totally. Yeah, it could have been a cougar. Absolutely could have been a cougar. Not sure. I wished I'd had a way to get that video back that I could show it. An incredible video. I love videos like that. I really do. I love the videos where there are guys, like for instance the video of what's the monkey's name? Was it Coco? The ape's name, was it Coco? With Robin Williams. Oh my God, that is so incredible. I would love that too. I would love to be put in a pen with gorillas, especially with chimps. So Sometimes that's not the smartest thing to do. Best place to be. There are certainly horror stories, including with even chimps. Poor lady somewhere in the Northeast. I think she was killed. I think she was friends or something of the owner and was there to feed it or something like that. And for some reason, the chimp just turned and tore her up. I mean, absolutely tore her up. In the Northeast somewhere, a long time ago. Robin Williams was indeed awesome. He was a good man. The world lost a truly good man when he took his own life. I still debate that. I gotta be honest, I still debate whether or not he took his own life. Yeah, but the best part, Steve, is when you can gain that animal's trust and it's no longer running and hiding. We had a cat that was named T when I lived in Sandoval. And with a woman named Angela. She had a daughter. And we decided that we wanted a cat. And so we looked in the paper and whatnot, and we found an ad for some farm cats. And so we took the girl with us to go pick out a cat. And we get there and everything. We're like, which cat do you want? So she pointed one out. And I'm like, okay. So I went to go get it. Well, all the cats, hadn't had a ton of time with humans. And they were farm cats, And so I managed to get the cat in a corner. And, yeah, that thing grabbed a hold of the webbing between my thumb and my first finger. And literally, I shook like that, and the cat was still there. And I was able to, when I did that and realized that cat was not letting go, I dropped to my knees and put the cat's body between my legs, essentially. And I just squeezed the sides of the mouth just enough to get it to let loose of my damn hand. And boy, she was a handful to T. That we had the young girl name her, and T, the letter T. She was studying the letter T in school, so that became the cat's name. And for the first while, she would run around and hide and not have anything to do with us, probably for a week or so before we could finally get her to be a little social. But it wasn't long, and that cat was, it couldn't get enough of us, It was constantly on our laps. Or I, at that time, was kind of the beginning of when I started to really get into computers, so obviously it was always on the desk right in front of me, so I couldn't type or see the monitor. But yeah, it takes a little while to get them warmed up. Takes a little while. Brad, BC Truck, rest his soul, had what he called Roof Cat. And he spent years trying to befriend Roof Cat. But could get it up close to its hand and stuff, but he knew better than to try to grab the cat, because the cat would just tear him up. But I wanted so badly to have a chance at Roof Cat. Again, I'm the idiot that would die because I had to pet the big kitty. Anyway, I am going to get out of here before I get in a bunch of trouble from the true boss of this house. And I'm going to get some rest. And it's Thursday, which is my Friday. So I will be back Sunday night. And we'll talk about all the craziness in between then. I'm sure there's going to be plenty. I think tomorrow's going to be a busy news day. So, howdy, JJ McKay. Night to you too, brother. Anyway, you all have a good one. I wish you all the best, and I will see you on Sunday night. As always, shalom.